The forest has always kept its secrets well. Long before roads were built, before cameras, before police lines, these woods had already witnessed countless untold stories. Stories buried beneath the soil, hidden behind the silence of the trees. During the day, this place feels almost peaceful. Sunlight slips through the branches, the wind moves softly, and for a moment, everything feels alive. But when darkness falls, the forest changes. The sounds become heavier. The silence becomes uncomfortable, and every shadow begins to feel like it's watching you. Locals living nearby often spoke about this place in whispers, not because of myths, but because deep down, they believed something about these woods was never right. Then, in the early months of this year, something happened that turned those fears into reality. A normal day suddenly became the beginning of a mystery that would leave investigators confused, families broken, and an entire community searching for answers. Because hidden deep inside this forest, authorities discovered something they never expected to find. At first glance, it didn't look real. The scene was so disturbing, so unnatural, that even experienced officers struggled to process what they were seeing. News spread quickly. People gathered near the area. Rumors exploded across social media. Some believed it was an accident. Others believed it was something far darker. But as investigators moved deeper into the case, the mystery only became more disturbing. Every new clue raised another question. Every answer led to another dead end. And slowly, this quiet forest transformed into the center of one of the most chilling unsolved stories of the year. A story filled with fear, confusion, and a haunting question that still remains unanswered. What really happened inside those woods? Tonight, we uncover the mystery. This story begins during one of the darkest periods in human history, World War II, a time when fear ruled across Europe, cities burned beneath the skies, and death had become part of everyday life. Britain itself lived under constant tension. Nights were filled with silence, blackouts, and the distant sound of sirens echoing through the streets. Nobody knew who could be trusted anymore. Spies moved through the shadows, rumors spread through towns, and the war had filled people's minds with paranoia and fear. But while the world focused on the horrors of war, deep inside a quiet woodland in Hagley, another nightmare was waiting to be discovered. A mystery that had nothing to do with bombs or battlefields, but something far stranger. Because hidden inside these woods lay the remains of a woman whose identity would remain unknown for decades. And the terrifying question surrounding her death would soon haunt all of Britain. At first, nobody even knew her name. To the world, she was simply an unknown woman, hidden deep inside the woods. No identity, no family, no explanation, only silence. And perhaps that is what made this case so terrifying. Because somewhere before her death, this woman had a life of her own. She had a voice, memories. Yet somehow, she ended up alone inside the trunk of a dead tree in the middle of a forest. But the story truly began on a quiet afternoon in April 1943, when 4 local boys entered Hagley Wood searching for birds' nests. To them, it was just another adventure. The war had already turned everyday life dark and uncertain, and children often escaped into the woods looking for excitement. But hidden somewhere among those woods was a discovery waiting to change everything.
As the boys moved deeper into the woodland, they began climbing trees, in search of birds' nests hidden high among the branches. Then one of them noticed something unusual. An old wych elm tree, larger and darker than the others, standing silently in the middle of the forest. Part of its trunk was hollow. Curious, one of the boys climbed up and leaned forward to look inside. At first, he thought he was staring at an animal skull, but within seconds, the horrifying truth became clear. What he had found was human, a real human skull, hidden inside the darkness of the tree. The boys froze in terror. Panic spread instantly. One by one, they stepped back from the tree, unable to understand what they were looking at. The forest that moments earlier had felt harmless and quiet suddenly felt cold, unnatural, almost cursed. Frightened of getting into trouble for entering the woods illegally, the boys initially decided to tell nobody about what they had seen. But fear followed them home, and by the end of the day, the terrifying discovery finally reached the police.
Soon after receiving the report, police officers arrived at Hagley Wood and began searching the area around the tree. What they discovered only made the mystery even more disturbing. Hidden inside the hollow trunk were the nearly complete skeletal remains of a woman. Alongside the body, investigators found fragments of clothing, a shoe, and a small gold wedding ring. But one detail immediately stood out to detectives. The body had not simply been left there by accident. Experts believed the woman had been deliberately placed inside the tree shortly after her death.
News of the discovery spread quickly across the area. A murder hidden inside a tree was something people had never seen before. Soon, rumors began spreading through nearby towns and villages. Some believed the woman had been killed by a dangerous criminal hiding during the war. Others whispered about darker possibilities, occult rituals, secret groups, even spies. But despite the growing fear and speculation, police still had no idea who the woman actually was.
Investigators examined every clue they could find. The woman was believed to be around 35 years old. Forensic experts discovered fabric had been forced into her mouth, leading police to believe she had died from suffocation. But without a name, without records, and during the chaos of World War II, identifying her became almost impossible. It seemed as though the woman inside the tree had simply appeared from nowhere.
Then, almost 1 year later, the mystery took an even darker turn. Strange graffiti suddenly began appearing on walls across Birmingham. Written in large white letters were the chilling words, "Who put Bella down the Wych Elm?" For the first time, the unknown woman had a name, Bella, but the message created far more questions than answers. Who was Bella? And more importantly, who knew enough about the murder to write those words?
The graffiti terrified people, because this was no longer just an unsolved murder case hidden deep inside a forest. Now it seemed that someone out there knew the truth. Someone who knew the woman's name, and possibly what had happened to her. Police searched for the person behind the messages, but no one was ever identified. And slowly, the mystery of Bella began turning into something far bigger than anyone had imagined. Decades have passed since the body inside the wych elm tree was discovered. The forests of Hagley still stand silent, as though guarding the secrets buried within them. Bella's true identity was never officially confirmed. Her killer was never found. And many of the answers investigators desperately searched for disappeared with time. Yet even today, the mystery refuses to die. The words written across those walls so many years ago still continue to haunt Britain's dark history. Who put Bella down the Wych Elm? Perhaps somewhere, someone once knew the truth. Or perhaps The forest took the answers for itself. But one thing is certain. Deep inside those woods, a woman lost her life. And her story became one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries the world has ever known.